Okay, so I told you guys earlier in the video that I was going to be break down my $1 billion detailing business plan, and here it is. Now, I went ahead and I wrote down a couple of the basic things that are going to be included in the main flagship. And if you notice, and take a look, and you can actually read it, because I'm not sure you're going to be able to, but I have PPF, I have coatings, I've got courses, trainings, products, and then I forgot to add what I'm working on at the moment, which is the detailing. That's good. So now this might seem crazy, but let me tell you why it looks crazy. Because the actual end goal of any big business is to monopolize. And if you guys actually paying any attention to social media and the industries that are happening right now, they're starting to do it. Google's buying up YouTube. Elon's buying up everything. Everybody's getting into these hyper-productive states in big business. And there's been studies that have been made. There's been so much information that's gone out there. And the gap between the rich and the poor is going to continue to increase as we continue to move forward. And I'm just trying to bridge that gap and make sure that everybody's taken care of within these resources. And what I mean by that is that all of these, basically the detailing and the coding businesses, I want to make sure that they're there to take care of people. Those businesses, since they have to be handled and managed and all that stuff, they actually require personnel to provide the service. I want these to be able to pay people. So this is where all my value provision is going to come from. And let me explain to you how I'm going to do it, because I learned this from real estate bureaus for real estate, about how we broke it down. So every time I would get a paycheck, I would break it up into the basically 30, 30, 30 strategy, which is really like, 33, because we're breaking up 100%. Basically, if I got 100% commission, 100%, then 33% would be taxes, 33% would go back into my business expenses, and 33% would go into my personal. So this is where I would take care of, home bills. But essentially, like, I'm eradicating stress. I'm gonna have the company take care of it. I'm not buying anything. I do not want ownership of a single house. I do not want to be settled down anywhere. I want to be removed. I don't think there's any points in owning anything because we're all gonna die at the end of the day anyways. But this is what I want to use to strategize for the detail of this. So my prices right now, I really do want to make sure that they're bare minimum, about like $300, because this would allow me to pay a detailer the 33% commission, but 33% back to my business for expenses, which more than covers what I'm spending. As I calculated, you checked out the other video, where my cost breakdown. I calculated it cost me about $80 a day to be able to provide the service. So if I just put 100 back to my expenses, I'm still making about 20 profit. And then I put 30% away for taxes. And this is not going to be used 100% for tax, especially with all the expenses we're going to have. We're going to get a lot lower percentage that we got to take for tax, but then that can get paid out in bonuses. That it can be used extra, and it can be used to check out all the accounting and all that stuff, because I have not gotten that deep into it. I've only been managing myself at this point. But I've already built the entire plan to where I'm about to start bringing building out. I'm going to start bringing people in. I'm going to start making sure that everything is streamlined, start happening. My goal by the end of next year, by the end of 2023, is to have a fully activation shop or fully operational shop. And I said 100,000 earlier a month is what I really want to be doing, and that's what I want to shoot for. I really feel like it's attainable. I want to incorporate programs like Hormozi with Sean Berg. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I'm sorry. But yeah, Sean has a really good program where it's a CRM where let's just send out emails, send out sales funnels instead of that entire thing up. And I think that's extremely important once you get into the coding side of things. Because if you can bring, this is mobile detailing, it's not just going to be detailing, because a lot of people who want to get their called detail, they actually don't have the time to take to the detail shop. So bringing a mobile service they can provide would be amazing for them. You could go to the office, go wherever you go, and just take care of their vehicle. And most times, since they're barely getting to the world of detailing, they don't know what these codes are. And I'm telling you this from personal experience where I've been learning over the past year. These people that are willing to spend $300 on a 2-door, 3-door car, or 3-door, 4-door, excuse me. Those people, they're willing to pay $1,500, $2,000, $3,000 maybe for a coat. And that's one package, which is another thing that's going to be a big part of it, is having multiple packages. People don't understand how to capitalize on multiple prices. And for me personally, I believe you should always have three prices. I've seen a lot of people that think it's too complicated, but the thing is it shouldn't be complicated. The client should have to look at it. You should be able to explain what's in the packages to them, and they should be able to make a decision based on the explanation that you give. There's nothing else more complicated than having to look over a business's information to figure out what they're selling. Why are you making your client do extra work? That's why you're losing customers. And I really think that's why I was losing customers. So it's one big mistake that you definitely don't want to make. Real quick. So yeah, that's how I'm gonna pay my detailer. They're gonna be paid commissions. They're taken care of because I like to get paid commission. I gotta get into it whenever I was in real estate. I like to be able to work my own hours. So I had a question brought up the other day about one of these experts that he said, so what do you do whenever you don't have work? Well, the thing is that they're gonna be contractors. So I'm not only gonna bring in work for them, but I'm also gonna allow them to bring in work for themselves. However, that work is still gonna have to maintain the same kind of quality as everything that I'm, putting out, bringing in myself. And I'm gonna allow them to have business cards made under the flagship of the company. That way they can just present it for whatever they're presenting it, with their name, they're also presenting our company. And it's gonna be a requirement, just like the mates do it for real estate. That way the brokers would be advertised and the actual detailer themselves would be advertised. I basically want to turn them into full-time professionals under a flagship company that can expand all over the United States and maybe all over the world if it's necessary. So that's the first thing, right? Obviously, I want to fund list of coatings. Coatings are really important as far as the price points go. Detailing, this can be a little bit more fun. They can price their own thing. They can do whatever they need to do. If they want to charge more, they can charge more. We can play with the commissions that need to get paid. All this is just going to be based on whatever the people want, whatever the detailers actually want. The coatings, though, there's a pricing strategy that I really like and that I'm already applying. I've already been in progress and doing it for the last couple of months. And actually, my last job was applying this strategy. And basically, it's just a quick breakdown. The coating install is $800. The prep is $200. Don't get mad at this. Everybody gets mad saying the prep should be included. No, this is a full detail on its own for the outside of the vehicle. I'm not going to include that with the coating because the coating itself requires one, the ability to apply it, and two, product. So you're spending, depending on which coating you're buying, you're spending anywhere from like $80 to $300 for this bottle. And then you're spending, maybe on a two-door car, you might spend 30 minutes to an hour. If that, you might be able to do it faster, also depending on which coating you do. Decode it. So, it's not a lot of time, but if you're doing an SUV, you might need, a bottle and a half, depending on the coating. And then this goes up to 450 immediately. So you already lost half of what you charged. It just doesn't make sense to charge that much, right? So this is the big thing. So just to get it prepped and to get it coated, it's $1,000. Then stay with me here, right? Polishing steps and layers. These were the next two things that we can do. So every layer, $300 per layer. On the polishing side, $400 for the first step. And then plus 300, or you can play with this, you can do 2 or 3 per additional step after the first. Okay, ooh, excuse me. So yeah, so $400 for your first step, and then additional $200 or $300 for every step after. Fix this right here. Ugly. And then of course, if you have a coating that you can layer, you charge $300 per additional layer on top of the first. Right, so let me give you a quick price range right here. Somebody comes in with a 2-door car and they want to get it coated. They want 3 steps of polishing. So the first step is $400. we're already at 1,400 starting out. They went an additional 2 steps. Maybe we start from 300 for the next paint correction step and 200 for polishing steps, an extra $500 would be a good deal. Some you charge 1,900 and say, I want 3 layers of your cost. Well, then that's an extra $900 or an extra 600, excuse me, because you already applied that first one. 96. So this 2-door car just came in for $2,500. Now here's the previous car, right? Your size. It's a 4-door. Or let me just look at that way it's easier. Plus 200. It's a crossover or a 2-door or 2-door pickup. Then an extra 300 if it's a 4-door pickup. And this is like a F-150 or something like that. Then it's an additional 4. And if it's an SUV or an oversized, like a 3/4 ton, F-250, 2,400, something like that. This would be an additional 500. And again, people got really upset at this whenever I put it out there, but you have to understand, whenever you can bring a job that you can do in 30 minutes, or 2 hours if you're doing the prep, of course, but if you can do a job for $1,000 in 2 hours, it doesn't make sense to not charge for an additional 2 hours that you're going to be spending whenever you're polishing. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, because you could just, wash and cook this car and send it back at the lot and create another one that's going to be another $1,000 and just keep doing the same thing. That would make you more money than just, giving them the polishes and stuff like that. But this is the business side of it. I know as detailers, we want to do the best job for the client, but we can't afford to do that. We're not charging what we're worth and what we need to charge. Now, the expense side of things, it gets really expensive to run a shop. It really does. If you're leasing something now or you're buying it, you're paying anywhere, depending on your location, but here in town, the shop that I've been able to work with, that I've been very blessed to be able to partner with, they're paying $3,200 a month. And that was a shop space with enough space for 3 cars to get done at a time. They were getting coated. Maybe 4, but that would be pushing. That would be a little bit dangerous with how much material would be next to each other. So, I mean, whenever you can do 3 cars in a day, you're pushing basically your bare minimum. Because I don't want to talk about how much this guy was charging. He definitely was not charging enough to cover the expenses. Because what I like to do is I like to see how much I spend to be able to provide the service. So that would include your power washer, your polishers. It would include your shop rent. It would include your insurance. It would include the actual clothing. It would include compounds, pads, all that stuff, tape, like all that stuff gets run into your cost. So you're looking at a couple of $1,000s that you have to make month to month, because I like to be able to cover my bare minimum costs to operate every month. So if you want to make a profit on top of that, you can't afford to make less than your bare minimum per day to clear that entire amount. And whenever you start thinking about taxes and all that stuff, then you're like, holy cow, I need to make way more. You really do. And you just can't afford it. You can't do it unless you're doing it like this. Or in my opinion, this is how I'm going to do it. I know I can push it. But even further than this, the next step, how many ways can you spray? How many different ways can you package this, right? Because yes, we know that this is what we use for pricing. This is what we understand as detailers goes into each package. And if the client asks us for it, they can see it. But they don't have to be looking at it until after the fact, or until they already understand the service that they want. Because you want to take every single, I don't want to say opportunity, but every single time, every single problem that they have with their thoughts, you want to take it away. Okay, so the thing is, we already know as detailers what they're going to ask us because we've been doing this for longer than they have. A lot of these people are brand new. We already know what a brand new client who is looking to get ceramic coating is looking for. We already know what questions they're going to ask. We already know what answer they want. So why is it complicated for us to give them that information? It shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. So let me erase this right here. When I said how many ways can you package break, how many ways can you use break? This was an exercise in one of my metrics books, Alex Hormozi, he says, how many ways can you spray? And whenever I first did the exercise, I think like a lot of people, I was just like, well, I mean, you could use it to lay a foundation. In my head, I was like, I'm being creative. I was like, you used to spray the window. And I thought it was pretty cool, you know? And then I actually keep reading the book, and he comes back with, well, if it's a gold brick, you can go buy a horse. And I was like, Jesus Christ. I thought I had something, I thought I was smart. And then he just keeps going on, and he's like, if you have a brick of wool, you can make a sweater. And I was like, oh my God, this is so interesting. Like he's doing so many things that I couldn't even think of. So whenever you think of coatings, how many types of coatings do you have? Well, you have your interior coatings, you have your glass, you have your paint. This is what I'm familiar with the most, you know, your interior glass and your paint. And then I know that some people have like specific things for their glasses and stuff like that. And then of course, I mean, if they have matte, that's something they could always charge for because matte takes a different kind of coating. And even better, if you have a certain brand behind it, you can do even more. But here is like 4 different types of coatings that you can literally work into innovation. So I think about, you know, my first package for a brand new car. Usually you want to give them at least a quick paint correction or a polishing step. So I think, okay, 1 step paint correction. This is new car package. And then 1 layer of coating. It was interior, I think, yeah. It was a 6 month interior. But that's the other thing you have to determine. You got to think about some of these coatings last longer, some of these last shorter. Some of these look sharper, they look shinier, some of them look duller, but they offer more protection or more hydrophobic qualities. Maybe they're more resistant to scratches. You see, there's all these things that actually play into the equation for what you can play with coatings about what the client might want. So this 1 layer might be like an 8-year coating, right? Because they want something that's going to be on the paint for a while, it's going to protect them for a long amount of time, and this might be something that a dealership is bringing in. So you have, and this is maybe an SUV, new car SUV, 1 step, 1 layer, a 6 month interior coating, which we didn't even include that in the earlier thing. So let's just say you charge them $200 to do the interior, you charge them an extra, you know, 50 or the coating, so an extra 250. Let's just say an extra 200. Then you're already looking at your $1,000 right here, plus the $500 SUV markup, right? You have your 1 layer, and then you have your extra 250 or 200. Like I said, I would do it right there. You see, you've already got a pretty good money right here, but I still don't think you should charge less than $1,000 for that. So if you say, okay, I'll also coat like rims coated or plastics, then you should just pay an extra $300. Then that's your 2,000 for a base package, right? Now, let's say you got a used SUV, and this one needs 2 steps of paint correction. This client wants, again, 3 layers of coating, and they want the full deal. They want, you know, 5-year grip protection in the interior, which I've only seen by Gion, whatever it is. I've only used that for them, and they said it was like up to 2 years, and the high traffic areas up to 5, and areas that are not traffic as much. So I don't know how really technical that is, but let's just say they get that interior coating, which is like the bottle is like $60, so say you charge $300 for the installation. Right, so 5 year interior, and then they want glass coating, rims, and plastics. Right, so 2 steps. First step is already included into the price, so I don't know. So try to include that into the first one. So it's 14. Really don't have to charge them for the rest of the tax. It's 21. Yeah, sorry about that. So yeah, 1,000 and then 400 for the first step plus 3. 700, then 3 layers of coating, first layer target, an extra 600, and then let's say, so 6 plus 700 is what, 1300? Plus 1400 is 1727. And then they want the glass plate, which is then extra $100. 627. Sure, that's right. 2700 plus the glass, no, 28. See, so you made an extra $700, which doesn't seem like a lot, but if you want to buy that out to see, $800 for over 3 cars, even you're making $2,100 difference. You see, so it does add up very, very quick to be able to do those products. And this isn't even my full package. I have one other package where it's like, we'll polish the rims, polish all your chrome, we'll polish like your engine bay, we'll clean your undercarriage, we'll coat everything, we'll charge like $5,000 for it. And if you guys just said I'm crazy, then that must be I'm doing something right. Because if your client is not gasping whenever you tell them your highest price, you're not doing enough. And again, if you do not have a client until somebody offers them your service for a lower price, and they still say no because they would rather wait for you. This is something that my real estate mentor, when I got into real estate, was really strong and very like, he kept reminding me of it. He said, because I was detailing whenever I met him or whenever I started working in real estate, he said, oh, that's funny. Actually, they worked at a sandwich shop to jump into detailing, and then he like reeled me into real estate. Okay, I'm sorry. I just kind of had to remember that, and it just kind of made a segue. But yeah, no. Whenever I reached out to him, it's because I wanted him to teach me how to sell. I wanted him to teach me how to sell because I wanted to do this since way back then. And I was 18 at the time, I believe. I was barely getting ready to come to LC because I graduated at 17. They told me I couldn't because I was not legal age. And I talked about this in another video. I tried to get myself emancipated, but that's not because he said I was basically breaking away from the family and yada yada yada. Long story short, I didn't make this video quicker. I'm sorry, guys. So those are basically the main explanations at this point. I still got to clear the course and the trainings too. There's so much, guys. The PDF intent has to be a completely separate business, but it's going to be under the same kind of idea that the coding started. I'm trying not to take too long with this video because I don't want to take too much attention from anything. I know you guys were really busy and you guys were professional. You gotta get rest, you gotta go to work. It started freaking 10:46. I don't even know what the heck I'm doing at this point. But yeah, so that was detailing, that was coding. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take my here. That way we'll start diminishing a little bit of the space, the little attention that's taken away from everything. I'm even gonna take away PTO. So you gotta understand, I do not see the value in keeping this together with the detailing company because a lot of people who are looking for 10 sales tend to detail. And a lot of people who are looking for PDF don't either. But this is just what I know about clientele that I've been working with. Because I talk to them and they're like, what's that? What's PPF? Or what's X and Y? And that's interesting based on the area that we live out in because there's so much dirt and grime on the roads out here that you would think everybody want to keep their vehicles protected, but nobody knows that you can do it. Nobody knows that it's a possibility. And that's why having the detailing thing down here it is such an important thing to me because it makes a difference whenever you can bring in clients from every single place. Because not every client is going to be on Facebook clicking through ads. You know what I mean? Not every client is going to be found that way. You might find a lot that are going to be found that way, sure, but not everyone is. So you really have to focus on that, organic and face-to-face engagement. You got to understand when you go to a party, somebody asks you what you do, you got to tell them in detail that. If you're out at a car show, you shouldn't have to have your business cards with you because you should have your logo from all over here. I mean, should go on. You should have your logo with your name on your shirt at all times whenever you're out on a car. So if you go to SEMA, logo on your shirt, logo on your hat, logo on your shoe. Wherever you have it, but you gotta have logo. So that way people know who you are. Because like I said earlier, branding is one of the most important things whenever it comes to hiring people. People who want to work are the people who want to take care of their families, who want to be able to go out and have fun, who want to take care of their friends, they have bills, they have houses, they have cars. Those people are the ones that you want to work with you because they're the ones that are going to show up for work. But you can't get them in the door unless you give them the right stuff and get them taken care of. And there's a whole other, background thing behind this where I have to set up all the insurance, all the healthcare situation, like everything. I want to be able to take care of them and have them opt in if they so choose in the company, have that, optional. That way they don't have to go figure it out. Like, because they're going to be contractors, right? I don't want them to be stressing about like, oh, where am I going to go for my bank or where am I going to go for my taxes? Like, I want to make sure that they have an accessible way to take care of all that stuff within the company. That way it's more beneficial for them to come to us than it is for them to either start their own business or even, try to freelance under another individual or whatever it is. Because I know a lot of shops pay hourly. I just don't see the value in that. I would never work out. I like being able to control my hours. I like being able to bring in as much work as I can as I need to. I like being able to work unsupervised. And I don't like being asked questions. I like being able to just, give me a mission, tell me to go, and I'll go, and I'm going to take care of it. I'll tell you when it's done. But don't come bother me in between. And if you want me to do a specific way, tell me. Otherwise, don't bother me whenever you see me doing it the way that I thought fit to do it. That's really how we do business. And with my clients, I always try to work with them and I ask them, is there anything that you would like me to do? That's always my first question. Is there anything that you're concerned about? Is there anything that you'd like me to focus on? Because I want to take care of that. I don't want to go in there assuming like, oh, maybe it's detail. I've been doing this shit. I've been doing this for years. I've been doing this since I was like 15. I know what the client wants. I know what the client cares about. Because not every client cares about the same thing. I've had times where I show up sometimes, and this is the other thing. Whenever you're detailing, you gotta have time limits. So if you have a time limit, you gotta know what the client wants to look at first, or what they're gonna look at first, because then you can focus on that and make sure that that works popping, and that's gonna be your main focus because then you know that that's what they want. So that way, whenever you hit your time limit and they don't want to keep going for the extra pay that you got charged, then it's like, all right, I'll leave it there. Are you satisfied with the results? You always want to make them happy. And the best way to do that is tell them right up front, like, hey, my price covers up to X, 2 hours of work for X vehicle. And if I have to go beyond that, I have to charge you more. I always used to say that, and then I would always give myself because I knew that I could always take more time if the vehicle was more dirty. So I always said, I cover up to 2 hours. And if I have to go beyond that, I might charge more. And then usually if I didn't go beyond stars, I just wouldn't charge them any extra. I was just telling like, I know that I said it would be extra if I went more, but I knew that I didn't have to make the extra money. So it was just kind of like, I'll let it go. And they always felt more grateful for that because there's something they also have to understand in sales. People would rather get more for what they're paying than get like a discount on what they're paying for. Does that make any sense? So if I'm selling them this marker, they would rather get this marker, but like, buy this one for $1, get this one for free, than get this one for 50 cents. That's really how the mind works, which is really interesting. The thing that I'm focused on right now, of course, is it's going to be all online. And the reason that it's separate from training is because it's actually teaching people how to detail. The courses are not going to be like anything to do with that. This is going to be what materials do you need, where do you find the information that you need. And I'm skeptical to put any training inside of here, but I might include a package where if you buy the course, you get the training. That way, I don't want any detailer to go out there and charge anybody $300 to go fuck up their. Like, I don't want anybody fucking up Mercedes or fucking up events for the same thing, a BMW, I mean. So that's not what the aim of this is. The aim of this is to make sure that anybody who does choose to go independent can understand why the shops that are charging $300 are doing it. Because if these people can understand that, and they understand the quality, again, getting the training over here, they understand the quality, the time, the finances, and also you guys just heard that right. So if they're getting a training with it, you guys know how expensive those trainings are. So if we're gonna do the entire finance course on how to run their business with the training, I'm gonna charge them good amount of money. My mentor, Alex Hormozi, he licensed his program for helping gyms launch. And that's basically what I want to look into once I've got the program developed and it's been tested, which is probably going to be like a 2 year burn before it's fully tested and done away with. Maybe we might be able to get licensing before that. But he was charging people, he was charging them $50,000 a year, you know, and he sold hundreds of gyms. And just do the math. If you have 100 gyms at $50,000, that's $500 a year. Yeah, my phone's recording. So what is that? I guess you say $50,000, 100 gyms. Yeah, that's what I mean, essentially. But yeah, so I might charge them somewhere in the range of like 5 to 10,000 to be able to have the course with everything, how to brand, how to hire, how to do like how to get jobs, how to price it, how to actually secure the sales, because it's going to include sales training when they're running the courses. And include the training where it's in person, you have the chemicals right in front of you, you're detailing and polishing the vehicle, maybe even ceramic coating it. Yeah, you're going to pay a lot of money. But that's where the beauty of this comes in. These don't have to be separate companies. If they're not, we get called out for monopolized. So the way you get around it is a Godfather company. That's what my main company is going to do. Everything else, at this point, I've decided is going to look into it. And I mean, if anybody wants to use this and run with it, I would like some fun. I want to have some fun with it. So yeah, obviously those things are already kind of covered based on the original. They're always going to be packaged the same way as I did the original thing. The courses, depending on who produces, who puts together the information, they're going to get more of the money for the courses. That's where I want to make money from. I want to take money from all this other stuff. I want to take money from courses. That way the training and all that, I should do it 6 months. But yeah, that's pretty much it. The last thing is obviously products, producing all the stuff that's going to be used to do all of it. That's my $1 billion plan. And I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys got something out of it. And if you did, just put it up.